Yeah. Alright, we all sorted? Alrighty. A success, a mild success. Okay, here we go. I do have everyone's audio. Alright. Hello everyone! We've got SL qualifying on for tonight here in Oulton Park in the lovely United Kingdom. Now, we head into the sprint qualifying. We've got only a single lap to see who can put it on pole for the sprint race. This quick full rain lap coming in. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, we're recording this. Alright. Ooh. We've already started quali, mate. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we did. Yeah. We can do that. We can just try that, yeah. Anyways. We've got Kubo and Kraft on the front row. Kubo with a 3/10 gap. Then we've got Kiato and Chevrolet. Sawasset and Rams in the third row. Then we've got Priya, Urist, Kata and Wojtek. Followed up, 1 and P11. Marta Andreas, Matty Ma, Dr. Known, Kalitka, Tomatoes, Mr. Kronk, Game Mongoose, and El Carino will complete our lineup. Yep, we've got 13 laps to go through for the sprint. It's going to be a tight one as we enter turn 1 on this circuit. But we'll see if Kubo can retain his current momentum after dominating the first round of CL. Alright, we're heading in now. All drivers on the wets. And we are underway. Kubo, everyone seems to get off on a good start. Kiato challenging for that P2. Oh, Rams and Priya fighting for P5 at the moment as we head into the hairpin for the first time. Chevrolet fighting Rams to that podium position. Kiato goes wide, Priya goes wide. Massive collision into the first chicane. But at the end of the day, it's Kubo who's gotten off at a good start. A little bit of a touchiness with that lag, but it is Kubo who's gotten off with the best start out of them all. Kraft, Chevrolet in the podium position at the moment. Urist and Rams fighting for P4 quite hard. Urist goes a little bit off on the exit of turn 3. Then a big gap, a little bit of a gap to Sawasset, Priya, Dr. Known, holding on to that coveted 8th position in the sprint. but he's got a big pack behind him. Mart Andrews goes wide. Carino Tomatoes goes wide. Huge pack racing here, and it's going really rough for those in the back half of the grid at the moment. Chevrolet's fallen away from the top two at the moment as Kraft is just slipstreaming Kubo at the front. We've got Rams and Urus still on each other's tail in that battle for P4. Sawased and Priya and Dr. Known have seemed to have broken away from the others. Kiato, the highest running player, who's not currently in the points. Still a big fight. The pack behind Mart Andreas is just colliding over and over and really haven't gotten a great start at all. Mr. Crunk and Juan heading the back of the grid at the moment. 2 seconds behind everyone else as we head into... As most people are starting lap 4 now, Kubo and Kraft are halfway through, exiting the second chicane. Chevrolet making another mistake is 2 seconds back, but another 2 seconds between him and P4, which is currently Urist. Can he make that distance up as the tyres will slowly start to wear in? Chevy actually put through the fastest lap of the race so far, 27:17 on his own. Maybe Kraft can perhaps beat that with that slipstream he's got on Kubo, or he's just going to hold position for now. Maybe he doesn't want to risk anything too bad for now. Maybe later into the race when he's got a big of a gap into P3, he might try something a bit riskier though. Alright, Chevy's still pacey, though Urus was faster than him that lap. Everyone's times looking around the low 28s. Priya with a big off into turn 1. That gives Game On Goose a chance at P9. Kalitka, Andreas and Kata. Priya and Game On Goose going around the outside into the hairpin there. But makes a mistake. Priya is going to find the back of him, but there's a big gap between those two and the points. Kiato is 3 seconds back, 3 seconds in front of them, with a personal best lap, and chasing down Dr. Known. Rams has fallen away from Urist, and Urist actually, I haven't noticed, but he's gotten into 3rd place, and Chevrolet will be in his slipstream for the time being. Rams in P5 is being chased down by Suicide and Dr. Known for that position. Kiato, fair bit away, but still quite a fair ways from Mart Andrus in P9, as the top two are just blazing away, and Kubo has gapped Kraft by a bit, almost a second difference between the two, as they're almost finished with lap 8 and will enter the last third of this race, with Kubo and Kraft still fighting it out for that P1. However, it looks like Chevrolet with that with the tyres wearing out will probably maintain that fast lap. He actually gets past Urus there back into P3, as the two look to be squabbling into that for the last 5 laps of this race. Sawased goes wide, loses out on P6, and Kiato's getting blocked off too. Kiato has had a decent race so far, but he's looking to try and make the most of the people's mistakes in front of him, just biding his time as Dr. Known and Sawased are fighting for 6th place, and that gives Rams free reign to run away a bit and maybe catch down to those two in front of him, Urist and Chevrolet, less than a second in front of him now. Head back to the race for the lead, and Kraft is actually caught back into Kubo's slipstream. So as the tyres start to really wear, it might be imperative now for Kraft to get a move going in these final 3 laps. He goes wide into turn 3, but he still has slip for now. Right, and Chevy, Urist, Rams is getting into that battle now. It's a 3-way fight for the last position on the podium, heading into that hairpin once again. And they've got a pack of 3 right behind them as Suicide, Dr. Known and Kiato are fighting for that P6 position. Kiato taking the outside, and it turns out to be the right way to go into the first chicane. Sort of mucks up the second chicane. Suicide still in his slip, but Kiato makes a big off right before the last corner, but they're still neck and neck. Dr. Known may be dropping back for now. He's made a big mistake at the exit of turn 1. We've got Priya still chasing in P9, followed by Mart Andrews and Game On Goose in 11th. Kalitka, Kata, Madimar, Tomatoes, Wojtek, Carinote, Krunk and Juan, as Kraft and Kubo enter the final lap. into that final hairpin for the last time. Kubo gets through on the inside. Kraft was in front for a time being. They're really neck and neck now. Kraft, oh, big mistake from Kubo. Maybe an opportunity for Kraft here. Tight, trying to maybe cover the inside. Kraft goes aggressive into the final corner, but Kubo, I think, will hold on by just under a tenth of a second to take the sprint here. Urist with a big penalty on there, and I think that's going to give Rams P3 at the end there. I think that will give Rams P3, Urist P4, Chevrolet and Kiato 5 and 6, and then Suicide and Dr. Known finish our point scorers for today. Priya in 9th, Andrews 10th, then Game Mongoose, Kalitka, Kada, Matimar, Tomatoes rounding the final corner in P15. Then Karino beats Wojtek to P16, and then we have Juan and Krunk rounding out the order. Wow. Very tight race at the top two, and it's ended with such a tight finish too, but Kubo will retain a third win in 3 races this season. However, he won't get the maximum points. Chevrolet sneaking that fastest lap, I believe lap 3, to get that with a 27.17. Rams will round out the podium for the Volpiocca in P3. Then we have the 2 Bobcats, Urist and Kiato, P4 and P5. Urist maybe, oh, actually, yeah, Kiato actually got P5 at the end there. Maybe pipped him out, I'm not too sure how that went. Suicide P7, Dr. Known with the single point for 8th in the sprint in P8. Then we have Priya, Andreas, Game Mongoose, Kalitka, Kada, Matimar, Tomatoes, Carino, Wojtek and Juan, and Krunk rounding the order. No points for the SCRs, but good points for the Bobcats in particular with the only double points finish of the sprint. Yeah, that might be the best answer. Yeah, it's like... Yeah, I saw that and it was just a bit... Yeah, iffy. How was the fight for the lead, Kubo? It was. Yeah, we're gonna have to re-CC regardless. Yeah. Goose is racing. Yeah, you did. I peeked through at the end, and it just, yeah, it definitely seemed that you were like, you got a penalty while being like 3 or 4 car lengths in front of him. It was just, yeah. Joe looks fine, at least at the start. Oh my goodness. Oh. You could just... Yeah. I forgot the gooses were so big for VO, yeah. Chevy corn. Marion's not... Yeah. I don't know. Kalita's back. Chevy's gone. So it's... yeah. Yeah. Yes. Don't think so, no. $26.5 manifest. Alright. It's just Dr. Known. Nah, Neil's gone. Is he unknown, perhaps? Yep, we have less than an hour to UL, and we've got the qualifying for this sprint race. Not for your sprint feature. Full dry? Okay, he's fixed that. Alrighty, here we go. Sprint qualifying, or feature qualifying, I should say. Got a lot of drivers to go through, and we got one short track, so this won't be taking too much time. As we start our race off, Kata and Gay Mongoose look to be the ones in front at the moment. Bit of a mistake there. We'll see who's at the front in just due time, as everyone's coming in to complete their first laps, and it's a 26.3 from Kraft. Brilliant pace there. And yeah, he's going to have that pole position by 8 thousandths to Kubo, hundredths to Kubo. Then we've got Dr. Gnome, Rams also in that fight for potential pole position. So we go into that second lap, and Sawasud improves. I think Kiato improved there as well. Kata as well into the 2670s. But still got half the grid. Above the 27-second time, which we'll see if anyone can improve as we enter the last little section of qualifying now. Sawasud comes in, finishes his time with a 28.5. Andrus improving. A lot of people are falling back as the times are falling down, but Kraft's time at the first lap, a 26.30, will be enough for pole position. Kubo will start alongside for the Riker Autos in P2. Dr. Known and Rams on the second row of the grid, good qualifying for both of them. Suicide and Wojtek P5 and P6. Then we got Mart Andrius, Kiato, Kata, and Priya rounding out the top 10. Eurus starting from P11 alongside Joe Porsche. Matamar in P13 and Karino in P14. The first, both tied, so we might see their order shake up a bit. And also tied, Mr. Crunk and Game Mongoose 15th and 16th. Kalitka in 17th and 18th. Tomatoes just a second over the pole time. Tight one. We'll see if Kraft can maintain his current rate, because he was fighting for the lead right at the end of the sprint. We'll see if potentially he can nab the win this time around in the feature. Kubo again going for a 4th win in 4 races, so we'll see if his pace can come out the better. Dr. Known will be loving to see if he can hold on to that podium position or get a high placing as he's subbing in for the Nordic Blizzards. And Rams, his first race for Volpioka after such a long break in CL, starts off promisingly with that P4. If he can do something with that, could be a big result for them. With Kata in P9, potential for a lot of things to go down as we head into our 35 lap race. Going to see the strategies play out with the tyre compounds coming in. Everyone's still picking from our 19 drivers on the grid. I think Azad has come in right at the end as an independent. So with 19 drivers on the grid, the 5 rights are out, and it's a really slow start at the moment. Sawasud has actually come out the better of that into P2. Kraft is chasing, but Sawasud knows he's going to have to bide his time on those hard compound tyres. And same with Kiato, who's also on the hards. We'll get a lot of trouble going into that first chicane again. Wojciech is slipping down the order. Kalitka, Kata, and Kronk are off right at the end of the grid. As we have Kraft actually leading the way with Kubo once again starting lap 2. Dr. Known is still in P3. Marta's gone up to P4. Then we've got Rams and Suicide in P5, P6. Matimar trying to challenge in P7 on those soft tyres. Kiato has fallen down to P8, but might have let the way there for Goose as they go alongside the second set of chicanes. Goose falling back now, though he has gained on his initial start with a P10 at the moment. Rams going wide into the final corner, and he's letting the two of Suicide and Matimar in, and then he gets through on Matimar on the inside of turn 3. Still tight racing as they go through the hairpin once again. Gonna be tight. Urist is getting chased down by Tomatoes, but he's also fighting big knockoff there between Kiato and Game Mongoose. And Game Mongoose is gonna fall down to. Ooh, he's fighting now with Tomatoes for that P10, but it's gonna be Urist and Kiato running away from there, and they're trying and catch up to Matimar and Rance, who are still squabbling as the top 2 again are running away, with an almost 2-second gap between them and P3, which is currently Dr. Known. He's fighting off Mart Andrews, but may have some time to catch up all on his own, but we'll see if the 2 SL drivers, the 2 UL drivers at the front of the pack can perhaps run away with this once again. Dr. Known making a bit of a mistake to start his lap, and it's let Mart Andrews back in for that fight, though he's going to slip back into him. Ooh, big mistakes are going side by side. No, Dr. Known has actually let Andrews through, and perhaps wanting to slip him for the for his first stint now. As we have Kubo and Kraft starting off lap 6 of 35, still on the softs. Rams getting chased down by Kiato. I saw, was that Goose or Tomatoes going off wide there? I'm not too sure. But someone has lost out. No, it was Matimar actually, who's fallen down the order quite a bit. Kiato going off, and that's let Rams in with a shot of P5. And also Urist with quite a good start in P7, and is going to try and make the most of those hard tyres alongside Kiato. Oh, we've got a... Oh, that was interesting. A bit of a lag scenario, but Kiato still in there with Urist alongside, both on the hard tyres. Urist going inside onto turn 3. Matimar is going to have a shot on him into the hairpin. Matimar tries the inside, doesn't work out. Suicide and Game Mongoose also fighting into that hairpin. Game Mongoose making a little bit of mistake into that chicane. Mart Andrews has actually made the first pit stop on lap 7. And he's going to go onto another set of soft tyres. So he's going to be falling back behind Game Mongoose in P10. We've got Kalitka and Joe Porsche also in the pits, both for a set of medium tyres. And Priya was also... I'm not sure if Priya was in earlier, but Mr. Kronk was actually in a lap earlier for the mediums as well. But we have the leaders, and Kraft has actually gone in for the mediums early, so he's going to try that undercut on Kubo. And he's going to head off right alongside Rams in P4. Dr. None and Rams fighting. This could be devastating for Kraft's potential undercut. Is going to try and make the most of it and try and overtake. Dr. None sees his position, but Rams is still going to fight it. Makes a bit of a mistake. Kiato is in the mix now too as Dr. None goes wide. And I think he threw Eurystus off as well as Suicide and Mart Andrews gets into the mix as well. We've got a couple in the pits. Rams goes in for another set of softs. And Dr. None is in for another set of softs as well. They're still going to stay in the top 10 at the moment. Dr. None blocking off Manimar there. But at the end of the day, Kubo's still on the softs. Ooh, a little bit of trouble. Kubo's still on the softs, heading into lap 11. And he's still got a good lead so far. And Kraft might be able to get the undercut now, but it's a 7-second gap. He's actually lost a fair bit of time to the squabbling from those behind. But it's Kiato now in P3, making that undercut work, overcut, sorry. And Mart Andreas is chasing him. Urist right behind, also on those worn-out hard tyres, and so is Suicide in P6, Rams P7, then Goose. Dr. None fallen to P9 after a stop, and Tomatoes is still holding on to P10 after pitting early for mediums. Matimar and Azat goes in for the top, for the tyre swap, and so does Game Mongoose onto the hards after 11 laps of medium tyres. The hard runners still on track and still trying to make the most of those tyres, but it's Kubo and Kraft who have gotten away with it and running away from the field in particular, especially Andreas, who tries to make a move down Kiato into turn 1, doesn't make it stick, loses a bit of time there. And the big thing now is that Kubo does have both the tyre and tyre compound and tyre wear advantage on Kraft on the softs compared to the mediums, and I believe Kubo was also ahead getting out of the pits, so the undercut was unsuccessful from Kraft there. And we've seen the hard runners finally come in. Kiato and Urist both in for a second set of hard compound tyres. Maybe they can carry that a bit longer. Maybe they'll carry that a bit shorter and maybe undercut for a soft stint at the end. Perhaps Kiato comes out in P6, but he's not too far away from Dr. None. Urist in P8, behind Matimar, who is was on the earlier strategy in terms of pitting, so he might have to maybe make a 2-stop from here. Who knows? But all the while, Urist is trying to get past him, goes the inside of turn 3, becomes the outside of turn 5, and he actually makes the move stick. Wow, nice. I didn't notice as well, but Mart Andrews has also made a second stop, so he's the first one to make 2 stops, and he's onto soft compound tyres again. He's gone past Kiato. I must have missed that. Tomatoes in off those mediums into another set of mediums, I believe, as he comes out in P13 behind Joe Porsche. Carino and Game Mongoose fighting on those hard tyres. And that's actually for the all-important P10, of course. So, big off from Game Mongoose, but equally big off from Carino, and they're still fighting side by side, and they're on an equal strategy as well. Alright, back onto the front pack, and we've still got Kraft on the slipstream of Kubo in front. Just a 3/10 gap between the two, and Kraft is going to have to bide his time on the weaker tyres, as Kubo leads the way once again. We've got Rams in P3 on the softs, but those softs are aging now. But he's got a 3-second gap over Kiato as he's fighting Mart Andrews still. But ooh, Andrews goes for the switchback onto that into the hairpin, sorry. And he might have gotten the job done with that one. Brilliant move, actually. But behind him, Kyoto and Urist both on the hard tyres. I also didn't notice that Kubo put in the fastest lap of the race a little bit earlier. Rams going in for another set of soft tyres. He's going to end up about a second behind Urist. So we'll see if the 3-stop that Rams is planning on doing can bore him the fruit of a potential podium here. But it's going to be a long way away as Kraft goes in for a set of soft tyres. He's hoping that this second time round the undercut can work for him. Kubo's going to be aware though, he might make an early stop to try and cut that out. Mart Andreas is a full stop behind Kraft though, so it's going to be a real battle for P1 and P2 now. Kubo actually extends, goes another lap on the softs. Perhaps it's tight. He did do 11 lap softs his first stint. Maybe he could go onto the mediums for the end of the race and only go for a 2-stop. Ooh, bit of lag going on. A little bit shaky. Okay, we're looking a bit better now. I'm not sure what happened to Kata. He's all the way at the back of the grid. If I'm reading that correctly. Jesus, I didn't even notice that. Wow. But yeah, Kata, I remember having a really poor start and got stuck in the middle of the back markers and just hasn't been any good for him since. Game on Goose and Tomatoes fighting for that P10. P9, sorry. Game on Goose will probably have to pit a little sooner. Tomatoes going wide. It gives Game on Goose a position again. Who was that going to the pits? It was... No, it was Kubo, actually. Kubo's in for the mediums, and I believe that is going to be his final stop of the race, so... Kraft is going to have to make up all his time on both this and another set of soft compound tyres. And it might be game over if Kubo gets into that slipstream, which he might have just done. He's a little bit off, 8/10 between the two. It's going to be a tight one. Kraft has to leave his best driving right here and try to get Kubo for that last stint he's going to make, while Kubo will be on the aging medium tyres. Still so tight. Oh, Kraft makes a mistake there, and Kubo gets what he wanted. He gets that slipstream, and he's going to hold it there as much as he can. And it feels like Kubo, with the longer running, might have secured this race win, even despite the fact that Kraft does have the fastest lap now. Alright, we'll head back, and Rams is actually in P3 with a fairly strong lead over Kyoto and Urus behind him in P4 and 5 respectively. The Bobcats looking to maybe go one better this race compared to the sprint, but it's going to be tough. All three drivers surely have one stop remaining in this race. Dr. Known chasing Urus down on fresher mediums. He'll also be making another stop, so these are real battles for position going on as we speak in that midfield. Andreas onto the hard. Ooh, that's an interesting strategy. Andreas must have pit a little bit earlier for the hard compound tyres, and I believe he could make it to the end of those tyres. It will be tough, but I think he can do it. Suicide on the very used hards comparatively. He'll have to make another stop. Game Mongoose had made a second stop for mediums, and he'll be hoping to finish the race on those ones and potentially undercut Matima and Tomatoes. Suicide in for the pits. Urist into the pits on softs. Dr. Known in for mediums. Ooh, both drivers only have, 8 laps. No, 9 laps to go, actually. So we'll see if the softs or the mediums is the way to go. I believe Urist is breaking away, though, at the moment. And Mart Andreas is the one to catch for those twos. Kyoto, also on the softs, is making quick pace to try and catch him and take that P4 back. Ooh, big struggles here with the... Ooh. Oh, I'm getting a lot of connection issues. Alright, so I didn't notice, but Kraft has made that third and final stop for softs. He is 5.5 seconds back from Kubo who all he has to do now is nurse his mediums for another 6 laps. But can Kraft make the distance on the softs is a real question. He gained a bit of time that lap, comparatively. Actually, a lot of time. There's 7/10 the difference between the two. And at that rate, especially with Kubo's tyres waning, if Kraft can make a break for it, he can be there at the very end of the race. Rams will be hoping to finish the race on these tyres, but Quieto is actually chasing him down. He's gotten past Martin Andrews for 4th, and maybe sees his sights on a little bit more, though has a lot to do with a 2.5 second gap to deal with 4 laps remaining, or 5 laps remaining, sorry. Mart Andreas now on those wounded hard tyres. He'll be hoping to maybe keeping Quieto slip. It's pretty tight at the moment. He might be falling out of it, but Urist is catching him as well on those soft tyres. Dr. Known has fallen away from him in P7 though, on the mediums. Here we go, a little bit of action on both sides of the screen. Suicide on the softs, trying not to get lapped by Kubo at this point, but Kubo, his speed will be shot somewhat by the worn tyres he's wearing, but he's keeping pace quite well. We've got Tomatoes and Gay Mongoose fighting it out for the P9 and P10, and one big mistake from these two, and it'll give Matimar a chance, an opportunity to strike for that final points-paying position. Azat in P12, a decent showing for Independent, who started from the back of the grid. Then we've got Carino Kalitka fighting Priya, actually, for P14, both going very wide into their hairpin. Joe Porsche in P16, not the greatest result for him, unfortunately. And then we have Mr. Crunk, Wojtek, and Kata all at the back of the grid, unfortunately. But yeah, Kubo, with just a lap and a half remaining, has maintained his pace, and it's been good enough to keep Kraft at a 3.5 second gap as he starts the final lap of the race. Kraft tried everything with the strategy, but it was just not enough with the 2-stop being faster than the 3-stop today. Rams heading up in P3 with the VEO, looking to get his first podium as Quieto and Urist 4 and 5 for the Bobcats, but it's going to be Kubo finishing the race, swerving on the start finish. He wins for the 4th consecutive time in Challenger League this season. Kraft finishes in P2 after being a worthy challenger all day. Rams rounds the final corner, first round, and it's a podium for the VEO. Quieto and Urist finish 4-5 as they did in the sprint. Mart Andreas in 6th, then Dr. Known and Suicide in P7 and 8. Then it's going to be Tomatoes in P9 and Gay Mongoose finishing our point scorers with P10. Matimar so close with P11, Azat P12, as we have the last few drivers rounding the final corner. Carino just getting past Kalitka right at the end there for P13. Priya finishing P15. Then we've got Joe Porsche and Mr. Kronk in P16 and 17. Wojtek still with a few corners to go in P18. And Kata is still on the track, still half a lap away from the closest driver. Unfortunately, it's been a horror show after a very, very dominant showing in the JL race. Just a shame. Sometimes that happens, Sometimes those poor races happen and you just got to fight past it. And actually, we've got a tied fastest lap. So Kubo getting almost maximum points this round, as he did last round, though, with the P1 and the fast lap. He didn't get pole for this race, though. That was Kraft. But all the same, Kubo P1, Kraft P2, Rams P3. Big points for Heritage Performance and Riker Auto with those positions. We've got Rams in P3 with the Volkioka. Then we've got Bobcat 4 and 5 for the 2nd consecutive race. Ford KitKat get 2 drivers in the top 10 with Andreas and Tomatoes finishing P6 and P10. Known 7th, Sawasset 8th, Goose reserving for VPT in P9. Yeah, what a interesting race it's been. It's been a lovely endeavour for today. Despite some real struggles getting the race started, it's been a lovely little event we've had, and we'll see you for round 3 in Germany.